I've got issues.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. In today's video, we're going to get a little bit deeper, a little bit more personal, and we're going to talk about anxiety. First, 1 in 5 Americans has an anxiety disorder. Okay, you probably know somebody with anxiety. But a little background. I'm 29. I'm a single mom. I have had depression and anxiety for most of my life. My anxiety got worse since my son was born. And so there's these things called grounders that you can use when you're having an anxiety attack. And we can talk a little bit more about that later. I'm still trying to find mine. The regular ones that I Google search I don't know, they're just not working. And I've also noticed that most of my anxiety attacks happen while I'm at work, or my anxiety seems to be worse while I'm at work. I am working on switching from my current job to a new career field. So I'm trying to fix that. But let's just talk about some facts about anxiety. Anxiety itself is, it's kind of an umbrella term, and there's several different types of anxiety disorders. So I have 3 of these out of the 4 that we're going to talk about. So there's generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety, and specific phobias. And also doing research for this now has it in my mind that my 5-year-old has anxiety, which possible freaks me out a little bit, but he has these specific phobias. And it scares me a little thinking that I have a 5-year-old with anxiety because he already has night terrors, he sleepwalks, he has nightmares all the time. There's all sorts of stuff. And then he's got these phobias. There's also post-traumatic stress disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder. And those things are highly associated with anxiety due to their symptoms, which I also have both of those. So my OCD is not terrible. It is definitely manageable without any form of treatment. So I mostly just make a joke about it. But I mostly have the generalized anxiety disorder. Things are triggered without any rhyme or reason. It's just out of nowhere. I use my Fitbit mostly to monitor my heart rate. When I start, I get fidgety. So when my body feels the anxiety, my heart starts to race, I have trouble breathing, and my fingers tap, 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 tap on whatever. On themselves, I'll use the table. They fidget. Which is kind of causes problems. But some of my coworkers have learned to what they need to look out for with my anxiety attacks. But it's a little more difficult. So anxiety is often paired with depression. Most people, in all my research says about 50% of those with an anxiety disorder will also experience depression. I don't know that I've ever met somebody who has one and not the other, or who has anxiety and not depression. I do know people who have depression but not necessarily have an anxiety disorder, because everybody gets anxious and everybody has different anxieties, but it's mostly I'm talking about a specific disorder. It doesn't go away. It's constant. It's whatever. It's everything. And also, just a heads up, Filming this video is giving me a little bit of anxiety because I've never talked so much about like my personal stuff, especially on this level of platform. So, but as I said, anxiety disorders can and often do cause physical symptoms. I hear a lot, well, it's all in your head, isn't it? And which could be true, except there are many physical symptoms that I and other people experience. Symptoms of anxiety can include persistent worrying over a prolonged period of time, restlessness, insomnia, fatigue, increase in heart rate, like I talked about earlier, increase in body temperature, which not necessarily a great thing during all this COVID stuff, palpitations, and sweating and tremors. And now I don't know that I would consider this a tremor because I can make it stop. It's just my body wants to do it. But I personally get the increase in heart rate. I've never checked my temperature during an anxiety attack. It just doesn't occur to me to do so. But during those times that I'm feeling particularly anxious, like let's see, when's a good example? The end of March, beginning of April, there was like 2 days my heart rate didn't go below like 115 or 105. And I stayed at a like 115 heart rate for a solid 20 minutes. And which is odd. My resting heart rate is about 63. And while I'm at work, my regular heart rate is anywhere between 75 and 90. So to be that much higher was cause for concern. But I did get the increase in heart rate. I didn't sleep well. I was exhausted. I couldn't hold still. I had the restlessness. And I don't even know, like looking back, I don't know what caused the anxiety attack. I don't even know what it was about. Like I wasn't worried about anything. It was there, then it was gone. Although it did take 2 days to be gone. But there's not one single cause for anxiety, and it differs from person to person to person. And I mean, like, there's a ton of risk factors. They've identified genetics and biological processes, which is also why my brain is getting anxiety at the idea of my 5-year-old having anxiety. Life events and environmental factors like substance abuse, stress, caffeine can worsen symptoms. Although, for me, I've noticed that caffeine doesn't really affect my anxiety as much when I have it versus when I don't. I get the really bad caffeine headaches. And so when I don't have the caffeine, I get those headaches, which gives me anxiety because then I start thinking about all the reasons that I could be having these headaches. You know, I start thinking about brain tumors and all these things. However, anxiety can increase your risk of addictions, things to take the edge off, smoking, drinking, drugs, even food addictions, anything to make you not think about it. There's a lot, guys, and it's undertreated. Like men typically don't go get treatment for their anxiety. So most of the statistics are about women, but it's hard to go and admit that you're having these problems, especially when there's still so many stigmas around mental health problems and mental illnesses. But it's undertreated. And some of the treatments that you can do some of these without even seeing a doctor. Like you can try exercise. You can try to cut the caffeine. There's support groups. I don't think there's any near me. I don't live in a very populated area. There's relaxation techniques. And then for treatment, there's psychotherapy, talk therapy. They're also doing cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, which is trying to desensitize somebody to their triggers. which for me, I don't know that that would work because I don't necessarily know what my triggers are. And I don't know if people do know what their triggers are. I know that I get social anxiety. So if I'm feeling too crowded, I will have an anxiety attack and I need to leave that situation. But I don't know what my regular triggers are. But I also, to completely go off the rails, I also wanted to give tips for people who may not have an anxiety disorder, but know somebody who does. Because all of these things that we're going to talk about have been said to me recently. Not by the same person, but they just they make things worse. Like, I don't know, like, don't say these things. So let's talk about things not to say to somebody with anxiety. And some of these things will have something you can say instead. So first is calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. I can't, physically cannot. I'm trying. Instead, model calm. Like, do whatever you do to make yourself feel calm, and that will, I don't know if it helps with everybody, but that can help the anxious person calm down. Like, their body will mimic your behavior. You can also say things like, I'm here for you, I'll stay with you, stuff like that. Because calm down, like, I'm trying. I really am. The only thing I know how to do to calm myself down is go into our sock room and cry for a minute, which is not productive for anything. Second, it's not a big deal. It probably isn't. It probably is not a big deal. It's not a big deal to a normal person. And in my right mind, it probably wouldn't be a big deal to me either. But instead, why don't you try saying something like, I can see you're really worried. Validate their feelings about whatever it is, because it might not be a big deal to you, but their brain is making it a big deal. Another one is, why are you so anxious? This gets asked to me almost every day. I don't have an answer. I don't know. I don't know why I'm anxious. I don't know why I have anxiety. I don't know what is causing these feelings. I have no idea. Anxiety attacks often strike suddenly with no apparent trigger. And in the midst of an anxiety attack, I can't stop and think and process and tell you what made me anxious. Can't do it. Instead, just listen to whatever they need to vent about, whatever they need to talk about. Just be there for them. A couple other things not to say. I know how you feel. Stop worrying. If I could stop worrying, this wouldn't be a problem. If you knew how I felt, you wouldn't be saying these things. Just breathe. I struggle with catching my breath in the middle of an anxiety attack. This one might be helpful to me depending on who says it. There are a couple people I work with. Excuse me. There's a couple people I work with who could probably say this and it would in fact calm me down. There are people who regularly use breathing exercises to control their anxiety. And this could be helpful for those people because it would remind them, hey, just take a breath. Everything's fine. Don't do that. Don't say everything's fine. Just say, hey, take a breath. Just breathe. There are people that does help. And with the select few people at my job that I would trust, they could tell me, hey, just breathe. And I'd be like, okay, I can do this. But then there's others that if they were to say that, I would probably just go straight panic mode. Also, it's all in your head. No, I know that. I'm aware. My brain is not functioning. And I know that whatever I'm worrying about is probably legitimately all in my head. It's never going to happen. I really don't have to worry about it in real life. But we're not firing right here. And something is, in my mind, wrong. Telling me it's all in my head is not going to make me feel better. It's not going to help me get over this anxiety attack any quicker. Also, in all of your research about anxiety and anxiety disorders, have you tried this, whatever? Instead, ask, what works best for you? Or what can I do for you? Because if, like, for me personally, if there's a grounder for anxiety attacks that's somebody has suggested, I've probably tried it. I am, however, open to all suggestions because, like, the 5 thing, I don't know. It doesn't work. It's like find like 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch or whatever, like however that goes. That does not calm me down. Saying get over it. I've tried. I really have. I promise. Instead, try, I know this is tough, but we're going to get through this together. Or ask them, what do you need? What do you need to do? Do you need a minute? I get asked a lot at my job. Hey, do you need a minute? Absolutely. Yes, I need several in different intervals. But like just stay with that person as much as they need, or if they don't need, then just go away. Like that sounds harsh. That's not, I did not mean it that harshly. Just like sometimes I want somebody to be there. Other times I want no one to be there. I don't want anybody to look at me, to talk to me, to be near me. I don't want to see anybody. I just need to be by myself. And that works for some people and it doesn't work for other people, and that's fine. Everybody is different. So chances are telling one person, if you know 5 people with anxiety, telling one person to just breathe could be helpful, but telling the other person to just breathe could be harmful. Or any one of these things. Asking, what can I do for you? Might not be a good idea for somebody else. But there's a ton of things. I had a coworker once. I don't even remember what she said. But whatever it was, it just set me off. And I left. And I didn't leave my work. I just kind of left the situation. And when I came back, she apologized. She's like, I'm sorry I said that. I didn't realize. And then she said, what can I do next time to make it better? And saying the wrong thing is not necessarily the worst thing you can do. But just acknowledge that you did not help this situation. Because I promise the person you're talking to who has anxiety or an anxiety disorder probably wishes they didn't. I would love to not have anxiety. But I do. And so I'm trying to deal with it. I'm trying to manage it. I am trying to educate other people on anxiety disorders. So there will probably be more videos going forward about, probably not, like this is a very overview, generalized video. So moving forward, there will probably be different videos about different anxiety disorders. Like I could do one strictly about PTSD. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. If you have any other ideas, suggestions, comments, please leave them down below. And then also, if you have any ideas for anxiety attack grounders, I am all ears. I need them. I need to try them. I need to know them. So please leave those in comments. And if I try it, I will definitely let you know how it worked for me. But anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. It was definitely longer than I anticipated. So I'm going to probably go to bed now because it's really late. Anyway, all of the articles I used for this information will be linked down below, so please go check them out. Go read all the things. If you have an anxiety disorder, if you know somebody who does, just read all the things. Like, it was super helpful. I've had an anxiety disorder probably for about 20 years. Along with my depression, and I have not done enough research about them personally. Like, I could definitely do better for myself just by doing more research and reading more things about these things. But anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go, and thanks for watching, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye, guys.